Yo, what shake was going on, my creators? You already know what it is, man. Another edition of Cuts. You know what the Cuts stand for? Culture, urban technology, and sports, man. Listen, last episode, we had Coach D of Get Fit, Fly Right. We was definitely talking about mental health. We was talking about with the youth, about being a mediator and a trainer when it comes to mental health with the youth and athletes as well. Now I got another great individual in the building. I've known this man for a very long time, since
Yo,
being in entertainment, being in media. This guy has a lot of accolades under his belt. You know what I'm saying? Multiple Grammy Award nominations, music supervisor. He's done movie scores on top 10 movies. He's got even international star. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I got my
right,
man
right.
Etcetera in the
What's
building.
good?
Etcetera.
What's
What's
good?
going
What's
on,
good?
dog?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I'm just happy to be here. I had to wait on this long line to be on the cut show, man.
No,
So
no,
I'm just
no. This ain't your first time, though.
no, to be back on it. I had this long line. Like, this is one of those lines. This is like trying to get into one of those exclusive clubs, man.
Nah. Never that. But we definitely glad to have you in the building, man. Let's just get
Yo,
with it
I'm
off the
happy to be
rip.
here.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get with it off the rip. So
Right.
pretty much, the Oscars just finished up, and
Yeah.
you being with the Grammys and everything of that. How do you feel about as of late within society, or just probably pretty much in the culture, like those like legacy award shows are somewhat kind of losing their mystique or losing their value per se? Why don't you take us into that?
Well, I wouldn't say that they're losing their mystique. What it is what those award shows do is they have they can't get everyone into it that we see because there's a lot of shows like the Oscars of movies we've never seen. I think that because it's such a wide range of other award shows that are out there that are actually coming up and gathering that notoriety, that a lot of those artists or those actors or those producers or directors are actually funneling out towards those areas, and saying that, wow, I'm getting recognition on this side when I'm getting missed at the Oscars, at the Grammys. So I'm going to these awards where they're recognizing me for my talents, and maybe sooner or later I'll just come back to it.
No, that's something. No, I'm glad you touched on that. I feel it's been like a narrative brewing for quite some time, per
Yeah.
se. And I feel it's just like you said, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody could get in. It is a select few that get in. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But then also too, if you're an artist or if you're a creative thereof, it shouldn't let that shun you away from your journey, per se. You
Never
know what I'm
did.
saying? You still gotta make things happen. You still gotta make the deals. You still gotta connect with people and go out
Mhm.
and work and talk. But then definitely that's what's up, man. Now, with you being a music supervisor, like, what has been like your most like hardest challenges when it comes to syncing music on the like TV shows or movies and commercials thereof?
So it's two different roles that I play. As a music supervisor, it's the movies that I want to be a part of. Because not only am I a music supervisor, I contribute the source music. I also do the soundtracks. So I usually my motto is to make the soundtrack the um the audio version of the movie. That's one of the that's toughest items. Not only of my music being placed on there, I've also used my company Idol Music Group to license other music. Like one of the movies that I did a couple of years ago was Paying Mr. McGetty, where was R. Marcus Taylor was the lead, where he used to play Suge Knight on he played Suge Knight on the movie with NWA. Um, it was more like I incorporated myself. I incorporated Kaya Jones from the Pussycat Dolls. I incorporated Tony Williams, and I incorporated Kanye West onto that. So it's how you make, you know, what do you? My challenge is getting the right songs onto the right part of the movie. One of the bigger challenges is even getting the movie, because sometimes that you're not blessed to get the movies you want. You got to get the movies that are offered to you. Me traveling on this high medium, I get the movies that I want, but I have to go in as the artist. I get the movies that I like, but I have to go in as the music supervisor. Like Um, you know, Big Tank and Franchon, they were like the music supervisors for BMF. So I had to be, my song had to go on BMF. I would love to be a music supervisor on one of them TV shows, be great, and it looked like I might be soon. However, my challenge is getting the movies and seeing what songs fit for the movies. If that, that's the extended version. Sorry.
No, that's all right. No, hey, listen up. We're here to conversate. No, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel people get it confused sometimes when it
Mhm.
comes when you hear about titles or titles that are involved with music per
Sorry.
se. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely, with the technology that we have, anybody can slap on a title. Not saying you per se, but I'm just saying somebody else can just slap on a title. Hey, I do this, 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 and then they don't know the ins and outs of really what that title was about. So, I'm definitely glad you expressed about that and touched on that. But then let's stay with that. For you and your career, how refreshing has it been to be a music supervisor, or for that matter, just alone that hey, I could really pick and choose, or for that matter, I could make the deals happen where hey, I could have both titles or either or. Take us into that.
But just to rewind the tape, when I first started, I didn't know the difference between a music supervisor, score, source music, or anything like that, linear notes. I didn't really understand it until I got into it. Um, what really, I'm sorry about that. What really took me there is once you walk in those roles, the roles are then slapped on you. Like I didn't know what a music supervisor. I thought it was like the contributor, the coordinator, the music coordinator. But then the roles that you take and the roles that you travel and possess on, they're the ones that make you who you are in that aspect. Um, what I did was and so the refreshing thing about this is I I use everything as a learning experience and as a platform. I use it as the understanding of what as an artist, what is the definition of an artist? How do you grow as an artist? I started off as a ghostwriter. Then I went into a underground music artist. Then I went to a college artist. Then I went into a major label artist. Then I went into a global artist. And then I went into film. You know, it's how you evolve in this game. And it's refreshing to like be revered as such. See, I'm using my SAT words now. Um, it's be revered as such. And when you make those phone calls, people say, "Oh, hey, etc. By the way, we have this for you. By the way, we have that for you," or to be even mentioned in those conversations when they do speak about, who can you get to do the music soundtrack for this, or who can you get to do the music supervising for this, and who can you get to do the scores of this. Basically, I used to watch movies. Like I'm a big Marvel slash DC fan, and I would never say I'm more of a Marvel than a DC fan because if those that know comic books, there was an Image that used to have Spawn, right? I'm a big comic book fan. So my thing is I used to watch the movies and then look to the very end where most people leave and look to see who's the music supervisor. Look to see who does what on what projects and how they're put together. And then I used to sit in on movie, being an LA person, I used to sit in on movie developings and see where I can fit in. I love like the art of acting, but I say I'm an actor by love, not by craft. If I had to, we act every day. Being a recording artist is an acting job because sometimes you have to play a role. But I would never want to take a position away from an actor. But I would love to, I love to create the platform for actors. I love to create a platform for music artists because someone did it for me.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up, man. I mean, shit. What else don't you do? You know what I'm saying? But I know that
Oh,
about you since I know that about you
yeah.
since we met. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, boy.
Years ago. You know what I'm saying? We've met, and I know that about you. You've always been a hustler. You've always been on the grind and creatively. You never put yourself in a box. You know what I'm saying? I think that's key for most artists for today.
That's why
Like
they call me Etcetera.
they shouldn't put themselves in a box, or for that matter, understand that with music today it could be at any avenue. You just got to package it right and market it well. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So for you also, what's key about that, being that with marketing now? You know what I'm saying? Marketing your music now. Take us into the freedom that you felt with the way marketing is done now with music.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm an incredible artist, and I've always told stop, second guessing yourself. I'm an incredible artist. I make incredible music, but that only goes but so far, unless someone's hearing it, unless someone's seeing the vision, unless someone's seeing the picture. Marketing is everything to this game, at least to me. Um, I want people to understand the vision that I'm bringing across. I want people to understand on the platform of the vision I'm bringing across. I want people to see what I see when I create. I want people to see what I see when I produce. So putting a project together, as an artist, you always have to have like two parts of it. Well, it's more parts, but let's say two major parts. The project you're putting together with the passion and what it's going to look like when it's done. Not saying what the song's going to sound like when it's done, but what it's going to look like when it's done. Perfect example, even what you name a song is marketing. Like I have a song called Churches and Angels, right? Churches and Angels can mean so many different things to so many different people. Um, the bottom baseline of it is it's a dude from Brooklyn, which where Brooklyn is called the city of churches, and a dude from Los Angeles, which is called the City of Angels. So we call it Churches and Angels. And you play on that. And people are like, oh my God, it's about angels inside churches. It's a spiritual music song. Yeah, it could be spiritual to some. Like my album is called Sagittarius. Not only am I a Sagittarius by zodiac sign, my album defines what a Sagittarius is: love, heartbreak, strength, lyricism, you know, character. And that was a form my album before that. Everything has a theme with me. Everything has an undertone. That's what makes me so, you know, marketable. That's what sells my records. And it wasn't like intentional. It's just how I grew up. I grew up theme based. So when you theme based, you're really nothing but a baby marketer.
Right. Nah, man, I appreciate you breaking that down, man. Like I said before, man, I feel, artists have got it confused nowadays that, or some artists, let me correct myself, some artists got it confused nowadays. They feel that the talent is the only thing that really matters. And it's like, no, the talent. Honestly, if you want to really put a percentage on it, talent is really like 3 to maybe 4%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Everything
a
else
little bit
pretty
more,
much is
but
the
yeah.
marketing, the business, the paperwork, how much traction it tracks, what work you're putting in to make sure that people are tracking it, and the whole shebang. So I'm definitely glad you touched on that. For you in your career now, I don't know how much you can speak on this, um, being with the Recording Academy, right? I know that it's a big honor to be a part of that.
No, it's a
For
credible
you,
honor.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But for you, I want you to speak to my creators when I'm reaching out to them. Take us into what's been like the more so prolific, or for that matter, impactful um things you experienced while being up with the Recording Academy.
One of the most, let me use impactful first. Let me go with that first, if you don't
Right.
mind. Impactful is being in the room. Just being in a room is impactful because you're with people like Harvey Mason, which is the president of the Recording Academy. Down to someone that's just created a song yesterday. Then you're sitting next to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who's sitting next to DJ Mustard, right? I'm sitting next to, like, I had this song called While You're in the Movie Sitting 5 Seats from Usher, I'm in the awards sitting 5 seats from Usher. Right? So I'm in these rooms, and for them to even acknowledge me, that's the most impact that you can hear the real stories of how, trials and tribulations of what happened, pitfalls and, positivity, and we say like in an educational world, the glows and grows of the industry. Like I can hear it. And that's why I was able to like avoid a lot of things that happened because I had these glows and grows and I was around these people in the room and I was around like music executives that switch from job to job. Like I sat next to Sylvia Rome, that went to from Universal to Atlantic Records to Columbia, and not in that order. That sat across the room from Clive Davis. That I'm looking at him, and I'm like amazed that, you know, can I ask you questions? That even to the incomparable late Quincy Jones, I look at these artists and I look at these producers and these music moguls, and sometimes, um, just the clip for your listeners, read a book called The Spook That Sat by the Door, right? Because the spook that sat by the door is basically, in a nutshell, someone that's in these rooms that just sits there and listen, that they talk around. So basically, I'm gathering all this information and disseminating it through me, like certain songs that I make, certain features that I have, certain ways that I maneuver through the industry, and certain contexts that I have, is because I just sit in the room. I think that's the biggest thing to being a part of the Recording Academy. It's the most impactful, the most insightful. And, when people were like, oh, oh, you didn't win a Grammy. But the bottom line is, did you? And were you there to even see it? Like, I sit front row. I sit in those seats. I look at from a bird's eye view, which you got to look at on TV on CBS, you know, and I also go to the other award shows. Like, I just won for best pop rap performance from the World Entertainment Awards, which is 2 days before the Grammys. That just being that artist, that's a world entertainment award. Meaning, I'm competing with people from Brazil, from Colombia, people from Istanbul, and I won for best pop rap performance. So that means those are just notches that I'm looking at, and I'm like, wow, you know what? That's from being in a room at the Recording Academy. That's from being at the room at the Grammys. That's from sitting on the board when the Recording Academy speaks and they talk about things. Um, that's how I got to be, doing the films, right? Also, they took one of my songs from Bare Knuckle Brawlers called Monster. Excuse me, Bare Knuckle Brawlers I created. Monster was another movie, but and then the Oscars considered the song. So they sent me, they're like, yo, we want the song. But the movie just wasn't, didn't get submitted in time. So I got the Oscar consideration. Do I talk about that? No, but that's all from being in the room. That's all from being a part of it. That's all from a kid that used to sit in the basement in Crown Heights where they said, that popcorn music is not going to make you money. Um, well, I'm going to end it there.
Nah, hey, listen, nah, we appreciate that, man. I mean, definitely it goes a long way of talking about your journey and how you got into the room. And I feel, like once again, it goes back to what we talked about before. Perception is key. You know what I'm saying? Perception is key. And then also, too, at the end of the day, what that person did with their journey. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be upset that you didn't win the awards, or the fact that, okay, nominated and still in the room where the awards are at? You know what I'm saying? That's the key thing
Love it.
at the end of the day. I
Listen,
mean, yeah, we accolades is accolades. I mean, great. And resume builders are resume builders, cool. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? If you win an award and you're still not able to be in the room, you know what I'm saying? Or
yeah,
maintain the room. I mean, what's the sense of winning an award? I think for me, from what you have just expressed about, I think the latter is better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, granted, nominate. At least you're nominated, but still, you're in the room. You're
yeah,
in with the people that make the decisions or the music decisions.
right.
For today's culture. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, that's definitely what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's
I'm,
go.
I'm
Let's
not
go with
just,
you. Yeah, yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm not just in for that day. Like, there's people that win Grammy Awards that's on there that day of the Grammy Awards. I'm there the whole year.
Right.
Because I went from that whole piece to being a voter. I pulled in to see, being in a room. They say, yo, it's really important that you join the academy. And that time I did. It's really important that you become a voter because it's kind of hard to be a voter. And it was just, they said, okay, now it's to a point now I want to sit on the board, and I'm looking towards that. I just don't have that much time like that, but I would love to do that. And just to end off that last statement was sitting in a room helped me get the new situation as becoming a producer of a sitcom, a comedy sitcom. I could throw it out there if you don't mind. You know, Remo, you were part of my pilot, and you're still a part of my show. That is now got picked up by Tubi. I said, "Oh, that's cool," but now Tubi's a part of Fox. So guess what? Now it's a part of Fox. So that's look at what happens. Look how you're blessed when you just sit in that room. Sometimes shutting the f up is a good thing.
Nah, you ain't. Listen, man. Listen, man. You're speaking to the choir, pretty much. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I mean, listen. You do. It's all, in my career. I want you to understand. It's all about patience, consistency, and
yeah,
how much you detail your journey or thereof, or for that matter, what are you
mm,
focusing on upon your journey? You know what I'm saying? Etc. Here, he's expressing about, hey, granted. The award didn't happen, cool, but guess what? I went like this. I moved my way around the room. I maneuvered around the
yeah,
rooms, and each time I got closer and closer to my goal and what I needed, that's just what you have to do. And
yeah,
and and at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Granted, social media is social media. You know what I'm saying? That's cool and dandy and everything. But then what happens when you gotta go past social media? What
yeah,
are you gonna do? How are you gonna maneuver? Who are you gonna keep in your Rolodex, or for that matter, keep on your email contacts and keep it consistent with the communication thereof. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely cool with Joe. But then let's continue. You did mention
uh,
about you and the producer to take as far as producing a television show and everything like that. Take us into your transition when that happened or occurred, and as well as to what what do you feel you can enlighten or heighten now with your skill set?
and let me clarify. What do you mean by take us into what the process of the TV show or process of
Yeah, no, just
the music?
like the process of the transition, because music, even though music and television and film, it is similar, but there's still going to be that transitional. There's going to be that challenging transitional
Oh,
process. So you know what I'm
are
saying. So
you ready for the controversial part of the show?
hey, listen, we can talk
You
about
ready?
it. Hey, speak. This is what cuts
So,
is about.
all right. So being a music artist, and just to now always go back to the last thing. Yeah, winning a Grammy, but winning the World of Music Awards was was one of the most prolific things. I want to, expand on that because that award that I won meant so much to me. Not only did I get nominated for three of them, just let you know I got beat out by Killer Mike on one of them. Just want to just throw that out there on the table. And that's a great person to get beat out by. Um, but I actually performed live on the broadcast, and then I won the award. You know, not in that order, but I thought that was just as good as winning a Grammy because of the because most of the people that are at the World Entertainment Awards are at the Grammys. Most people that are at the Grammys are at the World Entertainment Awards. So the same people that sat next to me on Sunday at the Grammys watched me win this award on Friday at the World Entertainment Awards. And with that being said, with all those accolades, with all the other awards that I've won that you can see on my wall, some are on my other wall, I decorate my wall. Sometimes I put it, I can't hang up everything, but sometimes it means nothing when you walk into another room. So those accolades will get you in a room, but don't keep you in a room sometimes. Um, and I gotta sit up straight for this one because this is a hard one to swallow. Um, Once you think that you're at your peak, uh, God and the industry finds a way to humble you. Because as over COVID, I wanted to shoot the sitcom. So of course I got some talented actors together. We decided to put something together real quick. I made a reel. Everything was, put together well. I got the executive producer Tony Rock on it. I think the world is happening. That meant really nothing to them when we were shopping it. One agency told me, we only entertaining this conversation, etc., because of your music career. I was like, what? Said, I'm just letting you know we're only entertaining this call because of your music career. And we thought it was nice, but you don't have the writers that we need for this community. You don't have the writers from this area. And I'm like, but how does someone get into it? So long story short, being in those rooms, if we could go back to that, helped me maneuver around. So a year went by, maybe a year and some change went by, and I signed with a agency that is in the room, in their rooms. I may not be in their rooms, but I've signed with an agency from knowing all of the directors from those movies, from knowing all of those casting directors, from knowing all those marketing teams, from knowing people at the Oscars that said, you need to go talk to this person. At your level, talk to this person. And I did. And within the matter of, marketing, I invited those people. Like, I invited my TV agent, the TV agent that I just signed with. I invited the movie agent that I just signed with, radio directors for that listening party of my album. They came and then they realized from my marketing, wow, they said, you extremely popular. I said, yeah. No one would have known that on that side of the TV world if I didn't do that. And that's humility, which most people, have to practice a little more. I invited them out and I, showed them that this is who Etcetera is. This is the magnitude that Etcetera can become. Because I had sponsors paying multiple dollars for them to even be in the room when I'm playing the new album. Like we rented out, Paramount Recording Studios where they recorded ABC for Michael Jackson, because I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. And they were like, wow, this is amazing. We shut it down with only certain people could come in. And guess what? 6 months later, I call an agent while I'm on the road. I call an agent when I first started the Sagittarius tour. And he says, oh, forgot to tell you, Etcetera. Your show's been picked up. Uh, okay. You wasn't going to tell me? Well, I'm not your booking agent. I'm not this, I'm not that. It's your job to call me, not my job to call you.
Mm.
I was like, and she said, and I was like, wait a minute. He told me, and I was sitting there like, he said, oh, I just want to let you know, you are the multi-award winning global recording artist over there. You are, Etcetera, Sean, over here. I
Right.
said, holy crap, got you. But it shows humility, but it also shows that, until you gain that status in those different categories in which you want to be, you have to start at the bottom. Listen, when I did BMF, I had found out that 50 Cent, multi-diamond artist, didn't get anything at Stardust. He said on there that he only got $17,000 to do, Power. I'm like, 50? That's 50 Cent. However, it's 50 cents in our world. It's Curtis Jackson in theirs. They may
Yeah,
know his music.
had to build over time.
Right. So now look at where you're at. So when they told me that and they told me Tubi, I was like, I'm fine with that because I'm not expecting to jump in on like, NBC. There's people that have been there way before me. But when he told me Tubi, and then he said, well, Tubi signed to Fox. So you're the third show to get signed under that new regime. I thought that was amazing. And it's all my presentation and who I present as and what I'm affiliated with and how can my marketing and marketability be beneficial to them, and they felt it was beneficial to them. So now it's more like, you know and I tell people it's not, the hustle is great, but it's also what you do after you get the deal is what matters too. But that's where I'm at. And it was hard being told no. Like, I'm rarely told no a lot of times, but it's hard being told that you're regular degla. And I was like, movies don't tell me that. Music doesn't tell me that, but television is, it's like
Yeah.
going from elementary to middle school to high school.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing with that is, because over the years, I feel I'm just saying to add on to the conversation.
Yeah.
I feel over the years with television, because those studios they built so much legacy amongst it.
Mm,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Not saying that music didn't build a legacy, but you got to figure, studios out in like L.A. and California. You know what I'm saying? Before things started spreading out to other areas like Atlanta with
Oh,
Tyler
Tyler Perry.
Perry. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And even in Jersey, you know what I'm saying? They just built a multiplex studio. I think Netflix did that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
They
But
have one in New York. They have it
Right.
down here, Sterling. Yeah.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? But the thing was, with those legacy studios over time and even with television over time, you know what I'm saying? It built that legacy up to that point. So whomever is working in TV, you know what I'm saying? You're having a long lasting, career. And even with the technology, the way technology is now, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Not saying that people don't need them, but it's like, bro, they still have a weighing factor. You know what I'm saying? With TV
They
and
do.
with film as well. So definitely
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you touching on that. With you now with your music career,
Mm-hmm.
what do you feel is next for you, or do you feel it's like, you know what, I've reached the mountaintop of what I've done in my journey?
No, it's no such thing as reach the mountaintop. Like a wise woman used to say, the sky is is just a view. Um, you go above that. You have to keep going. You have to keep reinventing and elevating yourself in this game. You really can't be stagnant. And it's still fun to me. It's still fun. Like it's still fun, making the deals. It's still fun coming up with new music. It's still fun, meeting new people. It's still fun even with the bull crap that people give you and trying to be slick and trying to be deceitful. It's fun because you could see it coming, but with the good comes the bad. And I'm saying to you from my standpoint, when it stops being fun, when it stops being intriguing, that's when I stop. Because if it's not fun anymore, then it becomes a hassle. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it keeps you sharp. It keeps you sharp as a person. It keeps you sharp. You can't let things get to you. You can't let people get to you. You can't let no one get in the middle of you and your goal. I just never want to be that 97-year-old guy sitting in a rocking chair saying, I wish I would. I wish I
Right.
would have. I don't want to be
Right.
that guy. And there's some people right here that's 25 saying, I wish I would have. I'm not, nah, I'm not doing that. I can't, you know. So, no matter what, it's no real, oh, I got it. Because there's always more. Like, you didn't say, wow, I ate last night. It's the last time I'm going to eat because I had so much.
Right.
Nah. Right. Or I just breathed a lot yesterday. I'm gonna stop breathing because I reached all the breaths. Nah. It's whenever. So we just gotta keep that's what makes us great human beings. To keep elevating, to keep growing, to keep reinventing. That's what keeps it fresh. And you know what? Just who we are, man. And everybody's not built like that. But when I watch people like you that, you've elevated from one step in your career, now look at you. I look at your show a lot. I mean, you go to most exclusive events. I'd be like, damn, I got like 37 awards and I can't get in some of them places. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing wrong? But then I look at it and like, certain things are for certain people. Then I look at how you keep your show. Your consistency is amazing. That's why I waited like a year to be on the show. I know I was on it before, but I was in a different capacity. I'm way more advanced than that. And I'm way more humble than that. But listen, I thrive off other people's energy too. And this is a great energy right here being on cuts to even be a part of and thrive off of.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up, man. We appreciate you, definitely pulling up. I mean, that's pretty much what this platform is about. Some have said to me, "Yo, how come it's only at 152?" You know what I'm saying? But the reason, or 153, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is it not in like 300, 400, or whatever? And I tell them because I was very selective about who I wanted to talk
Hmm.
to. You know what I'm saying? Or who I have availability to talk to. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? It's
right.
not just only, okay, professionals that I've done business with. These are people that I've personally known, that I've built relationships past, just the business of entertainment or whatever
Hmm.
have you.
Hmm.
And then, you know what I'm saying? I, at the end of the day, it's like, it's a reason. It's a method to my madness. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because of the stories that we could talk about, or we could share, or the similar things we could share, or what we experience in this industry. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So definitely, for you, you know what I'm saying, that was never a thing, it was never an issue. But just like you said, you expressed about on this episode, you were a very busy man. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't, um hold it against you for being busy or whatever to have you. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be selective with this platform.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The power players that I bring up here are not just regular people. These are people that
Right.
really move the needle. You know what I'm saying? On every aspect of the acronym cuts, culture, urban technology, and sports. You know what I'm saying? So definitely with you here, I mean, hey, listen,
Yeah.
more to come, and also with the project that we have going, about to have going. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying. Just waiting to get things started and rock and rolling with that, and then from there, sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it is. The sky is always gonna be the limit. Like, we the thing is, we have to, we look at it from a standpoint, and let me say we. I don't expect anybody to do what I do. I don't even expect anybody to listen to what I do. People do. People follow. I have a whole team. But now, um, but you know, I don't leave. I don't just talk about it. Like, I live it. Like, only on interviews I talk a lot, because people have to know the story. Because the best thing you could do is not let someone else tell your story, right? Um, and if they do, get it right. Like, as far as when you say expansions, yeah, I've even expanded even further. I went on and got a radio station under iHeart, BPM Beats One, and iHeart Radio, because you control your narrative. I don't even know how to DJ, but I have a DJ. I have a tour DJ, DJ Brooklyn Rich. He is now the DJ over that. 3 years strong. We went from zero to like over a million some odd viewers. And don't worry about like people telling you, "Oh, you only got 100 and some episodes." That's dope. I know
Oh,
people that got,
I don't be caring. I don't
you
be
know,
caring, man.
listen, people tell me, they say, "Oh, by this time you should have 30 million viewers." I got 36 million fans. I don't need 36 million viewers. Also, you know, people talk about how many, views on your IG. I know people that got millions of views on their IG and don't do nothing. Right? I know people that got 10 viewers on their IGs and tour the globe and make millions. So, you can't let all that, the narrative that they put out, dictate what you do. You dictate your own pace, because I notice a lot of people don't respect your outcome, they respect your income.
Right.
And if you keep looking at how much money I make, or you look at what I'm putting in my pocket, look at what I do to get that. People always told me, I'm a very humble guy. People ask, like, questions. I hear them say a lot. "Oh, so what's your budget?" And I go, I don't really know. And then I'm not gonna say who told me. They was like, "Stop answering that question." And I was like, "What do you mean? Stop answering that question immediately?" And
Hmm.
they're like, "Why?" They said, when they have multi-platinum records, when they have radio shows, when they have TV shows, when they have films, when they have awards in your magnitude, maybe you need to ask them, "What's your budget?" I was like, and I get these from those people in the room that I keep telling you about. They like, stop answering questions of people that are not on your level. Stop it. And you know what? It's been the past 3 months. I've stopped. People ask, "What's your budget?" I usually don't answer. And I'm like, either you there or you not. If you're not there,
Right.
sure.
Right.
Because if you don't do what I did last Tuesday, then we don't have this conversation. I notice when I look at, like, I don't want to say a lot of names, but I'm not really a name dropper. But when I look at, like, the president of Universal, or I look at the executive director of Sony, when they walk in a room and people ask them to, "I need a budget. Thank you for your time. I'll see you tomorrow." Or, "Thank you for your time." I'm like, why do they keep doing that? And now I understand. I really understand.
Well,
Because
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
son.
Yeah, and I'm using those names fictitially. It's not those particular people, but people of that magnitude.
Right.
I totally understand, and that me being humble, I answer certain folks. That has come to an end, and it's projected me a whole lot further because it doesn't make any sense to answer those questions. Um, and of course, we have 1,001 stories we could come up with, and 1,001 stories that happen, but you know, that's why you ever see that if you notice same artists record with the same artists, record with the same producers
Right.
because of people that's beneath them. And I hate to say beneath, but I'm gonna say beneath that ask those questions like just be happy to be in the room sometime and build from there. Because nobody gave me anything. They put me in a room and I created my own.
Yeah, you took your opportunity.
Right. Like when you and I were at the NAM event, right? No one gave us that. We looked in the room and we sat next to owners of certain things like speaker companies, audio systems. Um, Harman Kardon's director was there. They didn't say anything. We took pictures with them. They didn't say anything like, "Oh, no, I'm the COO or the CFO of, you know, Harman Kardon. I'm the CFO of Boss." They didn't say that. They just like, "Oh, you great. Oh, we like you, sir. What do you do?
Yeah,
Oh, I just do this." Right.
that's a whole fact.
And that's what I'm saying. So let's stop saying, "Yo, I'm the multi." That's only for the newspapers. That's only for the magazines. When I walk in a room, if you don't know who I am, I really don't care. Because they know who I am. Like, some of the sponsors, when I walk in and they be like, "Yo, listen, I need to give you such and such to sponsor your tour." I've never heard them say, "I'm gonna give you X and X dollars." They just said, "Send me the bill or the invoice." And Jay-Z said it perfectly. Everyone's a boss until the invoice comes. And you can say whatever you want about Ho. That he's a blueprint. I don't care what they say. I've watched a lot of things he's done from like the size. I listen. I'm not. Personally. That had nothing to do with me. Whatever happens or whatever he does. But as far as his business, he's he's been telling you for years. You just haven't been listening, and he made it come true. And I'm like, bro. And I'm like right there. His name is Sean. My name is Sean. We both born in December. He just born 6 days before me.
Mm.
And that's all right, baby. We both Sagittarius too. So, and I walked through it just like that. But you know what? You know, ah,
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yo, man. So we're gonna definitely end it with this, man. Etcetera. We're going to fill in the blank. Etcetera is blank when the world understands blank. Fill in the blanks on that.
ooh, etc. is blank when the world understands blank. That's a statement. You know what? I'm gonna do one better for you. I'm gonna leave it blank.
Mm. Why so?
Hmm?
Why so?
I'll let somebody else fill it in
Oh, okay.
while they watching. I'll let somebody else fill it in.
All right, man. That's what's up,
All
man.
right.
Yo, let everybody know where to follow you at, man, etc. Real talk. It's a pleasure taking your time and speaking with you.
You can find me at the Signature Airport on the private jet on Thursday at I'm just I'm just messing with you. Nah, you can find me at the real etc. on Instagram and www.iam etc.com. Just want to say three things. Number one, um rock buy the album Sagittarius. You're gonna love it. It's an amazing album. This is like on its third award right now. I'm not gonna talk about sales, but Mm, um, listen to I Am Etc. Radio Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 9 to 10 on the East Coast, 6 to 7 on the West Coast.
Yeah,
And
man. Remo
also,
gonna have to pull up, son. I'm gonna
yeah,
have
he
to pull
going, hey,
up, bro.
listen, Remo's always welcome. And check out my new rum, Sagittarius Rum, on Sagittarius Rum Limited. It's been out since November 23rd, the beginning of Sagittarius month. It's my new peanut butter and chocolate rum. We just did a
Oh wow,
tasting
okay.
in DC in December. We just did a tasting March 1st in Diamantes in New York. We're doing another tasting in Orlando, Florida, but it's selling very well. It's, hate to say it, is predominantly for women. That's a huge part of my fan base. However, men love it, and it's rocking out. Sagittarius, the album. I'm Etcetera Radio. Sagittarius, the rum, and also get ready to check out the new sitcom Dio and Kenny on Tubi, Netflix, Tubi Fox. Right? We're gonna keep it pushing, man. And thank you, Remo, for allowing me to be on Cuts. This is like I see you in another 3 years when I'm sitting on the boat, and I'm like, oh, I'm done.
All right, my friends, you already know what it is, man. You know where to follow me at Remo Marak _ on everything. Also, go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon
Yep.
Music
Yep.
for Cuts. Culture, Urban Technology, and Sports is episode 153. You know what I'm saying? You know how we're gonna do this, my creatives. Hands over the eyes. Make the one, baby. It's the two up. We out of here. And that's peace.
Praise God.